Tatsuya dove as Hibiki dodged each blade. 2 arms of the giant were lying on the steps. Tatsuya crashed through the giant's heart. It started to heal even as blood spilled out.
Now! I'm on it!
Hibiki shot flames at the hole, stopping the wound from closing. Tatsuya transformed into a giant raven, picking up a discarded sword with his claws. With one fast swoop, Tatsuya beheaded the giant. It collapsed to the ground. Tatsuya stood on one side of the body, ahead of Hibiki. He turned back into his human form, holding the sword out.
I've enjoyed this. Most fun I've had in hundreds of years. But I don't have time to keep fighting you.
Tatsuya, don't do this. Don't you understand what you're asking for? You're condemning an entire world!
After the way they treated our kind? Sealing us up? Killing us? How many thousands of years were we useful to them? And when they outgrew us, what happened? We were just tossed away.
Not all humans are like that.
You're talking about that girl, aren't you?
Leave Charlotte out of this.
Tatsuya watched Hibiki turn around and looked anxiously at the jungle. He held the sword up in the air, pausing for a moment before throwing it away.
Why do you care so much?
Come with me.
Are you crazy?
What's waiting for you at the end of this? Who's waiting for you? Why do we have to keep up this game?
The game? Is that what this is to you? What do you plan on doing if you get the treasure?
Easy. Destroy it.
That'll make us like them.
Aren't you tired of being alone?
I'll make you a deal.
As the static fades and the voices fill the speakers, the road you're traveling, the room you're sitting in, it'll start to twist and turn, becoming something beyond ordinary, something beyond this world. Join us as we travel beyond the stars, deep underground, or in the innermost depths of the human mind. You just tuned into the Radioverse.
Charlotte held the bracelet out. The serpent was back, biting down on the barrier. Lillian threw rocks at it as the creature lashed its tail at her. Right as it was about to strike her, something landed in front of Lillian. Large black wings stretched out, shielding her from the tail.
Pigeon Boy?
What did you just call me?
I forgot your name. Sorry.
It's a raven, first of all. This is why I wanted to—
Not now!
Hibiki landed right in front of Charlotte, holding his hands out. The golden glass barrier reinforced itself, throwing the snake back.
You're here!
I'm glad you're okay.
Not the time.
Tatsuya carried Lillian in his arms. The wings on his back carried him into the air. Lillian kept staring at him, grinning.
I don't have the patience for whatever kind of nonsense you're doing right now.
I have an idea, Mr. Brownie.
What could you possibly—
We just need to drop something heavy on him. If I can lure him out into a clearing, you drop a big rock on him.
And why would you risk your neck distracting the snake?
Are you worried about me, handsome?
Don't make me drop you.
That's my best friend down there, and the guy she's nuts for. Do I really need another reason?
I give up. Go have fun getting eaten.
Tatsuya landed nearby. Lillian picked up some rocks and sticks. She started running towards the snake, while Tatsuya looked around and found one of the swords by the dead giant. He looked back. The snake was already charging at Lillian. It dove, almost swallowing her in one bite. But she fell just in time.
She's either completely insane or stupid. Takes something to be that kind of stupid, though.
Tatsuya flew off. Hibiki ran towards Lillian, sending a blast of fire at the snake, causing it to recoil.
Lil, are you okay?
You're ruining the plan. I need to lure him so Bird Boy can drop something big on him.
Bird Boy? That's fine and all, but why don't we do it with a little more planning?
I'm all ears.
Tatsuya flew back over. Charlotte and Lillian stood on either side of the serpent, and Hibiki was nowhere to be seen. The snake dove at Charlotte, but the glass barrier knocked it back. Something ran between Lillian and Charlotte. An enormous fox, leaving a trail of fire behind him. Tatsuya watched as Hibiki drew a triangle of fire, boxing the serpent in. It writhed, trying to escape.
And for the kill.
Tatsuya threw the sword down. The serpent looked up in time to watch the blade plunge into its body. It spasmed with a shriek before falling completely still. Hibiki collapsed into his human form, Charlotte at his side. Tatsuya landed right in front of them, walking up slowly. Lillian got in between Tatsuya and Charlotte.
Thank you for saving us.
I was keeping my end of the bargain.
What bargain?
I promised to forfeit my claim to the treasure if you help me save you.
You what?
That's right. And I promise not to destroy humanity. But the power is mine.
And what will you do with that kind of power?
Not sure yet. There's a few options I've been thinking about. Goodbye, Hibiki.
Tatsuya walked towards the steps. Lillian ran after him. He turned around and waved his hand. A gust of wind knocked her back.
You don't want to do this.
You don't know. You don't know anything about me. Go back home, human. This doesn't concern you.
Lillian watched Tatsuya walk to the edge of the jungle and disappear.
Ugh! That conceited, ignorant. After all that?
Why did you give it up?
Because ever since I met you, I can't remember what I wanted. All I can think about is how easy it is to talk to you. How much I want to be human and try living like you do. Not worrying about tomorrow. Not worrying about tomorrow not coming for another 20 years. Or longer.
You really have bad timing. Look at you. You're all beat up. Why did I fall in love with such a stupid man?
What did you say?
Charlotte bent down and kissed Hibiki. He looked up at her with wide eyes before he closed them and leaned in, pulling her closer to his chest.
Really? I'm right here.
They let go and looked up at Lillian, who kept tapping her foot impatiently.
Sorry about that. The moment just happened.
This is really very touching and probably worthy of an Oscar, but let's be real. There's a sociopathic crow spirit who's about to get ultimate power, and you two are kissing.
I gave him my word.
I didn't give him mine. You're a fox. Aren't they supposed to be tricksters or something?
Depends on the...
You're right. This isn't over.
What? We have to kill Tatsuya?
No, we need to save him.
I'm sure he'll love that one.
Turn into a fox. There's no way you can keep up with us like that.
But how will you handle him?
With this bracelet and Lil, I think we can handle him just fine.
Hibiki turns into a fox and climbs into her bag.
Let's hurry up. I don't want to run into another snake.
I'm never going to a zoo again.
What if there were crocodiles here?
Don't joke like that.
Lillian and Charlotte ran up the stone steps, stopping in front of the dead giant, lying headless.
Keep moving. We have a ways to go.
Did you do this?
We did. This is where we made the bargain.
And that's the only thing stopping Tatsuya from the treasure?
That's the Guardian.
Lillian took the first few steps, and Charlotte ran close behind her. The path leveled off before exposing a deep chasm in front of them. A stone bridge led across the chasm to a small temple. The jungle was below them, stretching endlessly. Giant birds flew above them. Thundering booms echoed from the jungle below.
What is this place?
A world that doesn't belong in yours.
Could you imagine the rates we could get setting up a resort here? Once you get past the giant animals that want to eat us, it makes Cancun look just like another beach.
Something tells me being eaten isn't good for tourism.
You just don't have any imagination.
They crossed the bridge to the small temple. Tatsuya was standing inside of it. They sprinted to catch up to him. But as he turned around, they noticed something in his hands. A golden idol.
Tatsuya!
I finally have it. I finally have everything that I ever wanted. You can finally see what transcendence looks like.
Tatsuya! Put it down! You don't need that kind of power!
You don't understand anything. I'll never fade now.
Tatsuya held the idol above his head, and a golden ray beamed down from it, encompassing Tatsuya. Hibiki transformed into a human and ran at Tatsuya, but a sudden shockwave threw Hibiki backwards. The stone bridge shook and began to collapse. Trees were knocked backwards by the force. Lillian helped Hibiki to his feet, while Charlotte held the bracelet out. Debris cracked the glass shield. A few rocks came through, scratching Charlotte.
We can't stay here.
Where do we go?
Hop on!
Hibiki transformed with a burst of flames into a giant fox. His wounds were still noticeable, even in this form. Charlotte leaned forward, placing her head against his.
I'm so sorry. If I wasn't in danger.
This isn't your fault.
Can we stop with all the damn apologies? I don't want to die, and that light can't be good for anyone.
You're right. It's not over.
Lillian jumped on his back, and Charlotte joined her, both clutching onto his white fur. Hibiki ran, dashing down the collapsing bridge. Everything began to shake. A massive tidal wave washed over the jungle below, swallowing everything in its path. Hibiki kept running, faster and faster, with no plans of stopping.
Where do we go?
There's only one place to go. Hold on!
You bird-brained moron! Why'd you have to do this?
The ceiling started to collapse. Hibiki dodged rock after rock. The girls barely held onto the tufts of his fur. They saw it up ahead, the entrance of the dimension. Hibiki crashed through it, the walls around them caving in. The light up ahead. They leaped, just as the last collapse of the rocks sealed the entrance. They crashed into the subway, Hibiki lying prone as a human again, barely breathing. Passengers on the subway suddenly came to life, screaming, stepping back as Charlotte bent down, holding Hibiki in her arms. Lillian saw something fly above them. She went to scream, but before she could draw any breath, it was gone. Hibiki stood in front of his shrine, Charlotte standing behind him.
Why are you stopping me? This is all my fault!
It's not your fault if you didn't save me.
What was I supposed to do? Just let you die? Tatsuya's not a spirit anymore. He's a god. There's no telling what he'll do, what he can do. I might have damned this world just by chasing after this stupid treasure.
Why did you want it so bad?
I wanted to exist without my shrine.
So, you wouldn't have to disappear?
Everyone I ever loved has died. A long time ago. Do you know what it's like to wake up one day and find everyone you knew has died thousands of years ago? Or to meet them when they're 60 or 70, when yesterday they were only 12? Then I met you. You had to change everything.
I'm sorry.
I can't do anything but hurt you. I lied. I can't give you what you want. I can't make your dreams come true. I'm just a stupid man whose bark is worse than his bite.
That's not true.
Hibiki turns around. Charlotte hits his chest with her hands, over and over again.
You're stupid, sarcastic, annoying, and you messed up. We messed up. But you're sweet and gentle, kind and strong. And I love you.
What did you say?
Charlotte looks up at Hibiki, her wide eyes still brimming with tears. She leaned in and kissed him. Hibiki struggled for a second until he closed his eyes, dropping the rock he held in his hands. He wrapped Charlotte in his arms, pulling her in tightly.
What if tomorrow comes and I'm not here?
Let's worry about what we have now.
I love you too.
I know you big goof. You're not exactly good at hiding things.
The ground shook. Hibiki held Charlotte in his arms. A gale of wind knocked the snow off the shrine. Lillian ran up, screaming at them.
Are you too serious right now?
Lil? Why are you here?
You think I could call the Ghostbusters or something? Why do you think?
They saw Lillian pointing towards the sky. In the distance was a fiery red glow.
We need to go to Tokyo immediately. Tatsuya has completely lost it. He's gonna make Godzilla look like an extra in a cheesy horror movie. I think the power twisted him.
Can we stop him?
We don't have a choice.
She's right. No more running.
Lillian, Charlotte, and Hibiki held hands as the glowing leaves encircled them. In a brief flash, they went from the quiet shrine in Hokkaido to the streets of Tokyo. A loud siren interrupted their silence.
It's an evacuation.
Do you know how annoying it is that I had to sit on a train for 8 hours and you can just zap whenever you want to?
You wanted to stay behind.
I'm glad I did. Look.
The streets were empty. No cars. No people. The desolate Tokyo without power. Standing above the city was Tatsuya, over 100 feet tall, a dark specter that overlooked the city. Flames moved like waves on the ocean, consuming whatever it touched.
Turn humanity to dust.
He's gone crazy.
Charlotte grabbed Hibiki's hand.
Let's end this.
Hibiki pulled Charlotte in and kissed her. He slowly pulled the bracelet off her hand.
What are you doing?
There's only one way to end this.
I won't be able to.
Charlotte, listen to me. Falling in love with a spirit is like falling in love with the moon. You can visualize it, dream about it, maybe even experience something out of this world. But at the end of the day, the moon will always be out of reach. If I don't do this, you'll die.
What will happen to you? I told you I love you. I don't want to lose you.
You were right. We had something. But not everything lasts forever. I'm glad I met you, Charlotte.
Hibiki! Hibiki!
Hibiki pulled the bracelet off and turned his back on Charlotte, who reached out for him.
Hibiki! Hibiki!
Lillian grabbed hold of her, trying to calm her down. Hibiki looked up at Tatsuya and then down at the bracelet. He broke it. The tiles that made up the bracelet scattered in all directions.
I'm sorry, Charlotte, but I can't live in a world where I let you die.
Hibiki's hair turned white. A flame enveloped his body as the tail grew instantaneously. He started to walk, and then he started to run. Hibiki leapt into the sky. As Charlotte watched the flames soar towards Tatsuya, Lillian held her close.
I'm coming for you!
Tatsuya turned, facing Hibiki, completely covered in shadows. His eyes were crying, and his large black wings were spread wide.
Help me.
Tatsuya! What happened to you?
I can't control my body. Something was in the item.
The treasure was a lie.
Tatsuya swung his arm at Hibiki, completely cleaving a building in half, as Hibiki narrowly dodged.
Tatsuya! You can't give up so easily!
Humanity must perish. Help me.
Tatsuya, no!
Hibiki saw the twisted form in front of him, half possessed by something that was never meant to be released upon this world. Hibiki flew at Tatsuya. Tatsuya flapped his wings, sending tornadoes through the city. Charlotte and Lillian ran underground to the subway. They saw thousands of people hiding. Was the entire city fleeing from the destruction?
Charlotte? Lillian, where have you been?
We just got caught in
The earthquake.
You can't see the giant?
What are you talking about?
They can't see them.
What's the point?
Don't tell me you're going to give up after everything.
What can I do? I'm just a human.
Hey, what are you two talking about?
That's it then. Gonna let the boys duke it out while we hide? Is that the kind of girl Hibiki fell in love with?
Who's Hibiki?
You're right. But what can we do?
Good thing I grabbed something while you were crying.
Lillian held up 2 tiles that made up Hibiki's bracelet. She tied each one with a hairband, putting it around Charlotte's wrist and hers.
Do you think this will do anything?
Only one way to find out.
Hibiki crashed into an office building. The glass shattered behind him as he passed through desk after desk, stopping himself at the edge of a large room and gasping for air. Everything about him was different. His face was contorted, less human and more beast. He ran on all fours, jumping out of the hole as a tornado ripped apart the building. Hibiki crashed into Tatsuya, knocking the enormous figure back, almost falling. Tatsuya backhanded Hibiki, sending him flying. Charlotte watched Hibiki crash into another building from the passenger window of a car, stolen by Lillian. Lillian was behind the wheel and driving with purpose. The car zipped around the edge of a street, heading towards Tatsuya.
What's the plan?
Stop that idiot from destroying Tokyo and saving your boyfriend.
How?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
You're insane.
Then why are you grinning?
Maybe I am too.
Debris started to crash around the car. Parts of the streets were missing, and a large gap appeared in the road in front of them.
Yes!
The car accelerated and flew over the crevice, landing with a spin as a building fell where they were. Just moments before, they only had enough time for one short breath before the street began collapsing in on itself.
Back up! Back up!
I'm backing up!
Lillian threw the car in reverse. It sped up, the street falling in front of them before they crashed through the glass walls of a hotel lobby. Lillian spun the car around and accelerated. They crashed through the other side.
Look! Check that building out!
I see it! It looks like Tatsuya's right up there.
This is suicide!
Yep. Hun, I love you. But when I said you needed to move on, this is not exactly what I meant.
Yeah, but we can't choose who we love.
Charlotte and Lillian ran up the stairs. The building seemed to tilt. Winds seemed to pass over it, shaking the foundation. Lillian held her bracelet up protectively as some glass shattered. A small barrier formed, and the glass missed both of them.
Well, that proves that theory.
Keep moving!
Why couldn't we have taken the elevator?
Have you seen any movie ever?
Don't get snippy with me. I'm tired.
Hibiki crashed down, flames scorching across Tatsuya's face, blowing away the darkness, revealing his face.
Get away! I can't control this anymore!
Was it worth it?
Do not make me say that you were right, and I was wrong.
Tetsuya grabbed Hibiki and slammed him down on the rooftop of a building nearby. Hibiki looked up to see Charlotte and Lillian running up to him.
Get away!
Hibiki!
Charlotte let out a few fireballs. Tetsuya withdrew his hand, the darkness regrowing after a moment. He screamed in pain, raising it above his head. Hibiki slowly got to his feet. Lillian ran ahead.
Is he really doing all this?
The idol is controlling him. There must have been something sealed inside it. It was a trap the whole time!
Are you okay? Can you stand?
What are you talking about? You shouldn't be here. It's not safe.
You're not getting away from me that easily. I'm not giving up on you just because it's convenient.
Without the bracelet, I'm unstable. I can't exist in this world.
Good thing we have this.
Hibiki's eyes narrowed. He saw the tile around her wrist. He stood up, Tatsuya standing over them, his hands raised, held together.
I'll distract him. Find the idol.
How?
Leave that up to me. Talking to guys is my specialty.
Where would the idol be?
How is she?
She's fine. One thing you have to know about Lil, when she says she's going to do something, nothing stops her.
Strange girl. It's going to be in the back of his wings.
Lillian ran to the edge of the building.
This better work.
Lillian jumped off the edge of the rooftop. She flew for a second, landing on top of an adjacent building.
Hey, pigeon boy!
That's not my name!
Tatsuya swung his fists down. Lillian leapt off the rooftop, landing on another rooftop nearby.
I'm running out of space.
The building collapsed as Tatsuya slowly lifted his hands up again. Lillian shot a few blasts of fire at his face. Hibiki carried Charlotte in his arms as he flew around the massive body. Tetsuya's arms almost hit them as he fanned the smoke from his eyes.
Hasn't anyone ever told you that the whole brooding act isn't attractive?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
As slow as you are, I don't think you'll be able to make me.
Lillian escaped again, but was running out of space. She crashed through a door into a room that had been sheared away. The ground was dozens of stories below her. She watched as Tatsuya flapped his wings and tornadoes started to form.
This won't end well.
Hibiki dropped down onto Tatsuya's back, where the golden idol glimmered between his wings. Hibiki and Charlotte reached in and grabbed the idol. Tatsuya tensed and flailed. They ripped at it, pulling it out slowly. Lillian shielded her eyes from the wind. Turning, she ran up the stairs. The darkness boiled across his skin, bubbling and pulsing, faster and faster, until he exploded into a golden light. Hibiki and Charlotte fell, holding the idol. Tatsuya fell out of the sky, no longer a giant. His wings melted back into the air. Lillian leapt off the roof and caught him.
You should just let me die.
Me. Shut up already and just say thank you.
Am I supposed to shut up or say thank you?
Lillian, aided by the tile bracelet, landed by Hibiki and Charlotte. She eyed the golden idol in Hibiki's hands.
What should we do with it?
Destroy it!
Are you crazy? You can fix everything.
How?
You need to use the idol.
Not for nothing, but how would that help?
It responds to wishes. I was possessed by my desire to bring this world back to what it used to be. Whatever you want will happen.
There's always a but.
It takes something from you.
Like what?
For me, it was control.
Whatever happens next, I know you'll be there for me.
You can't.
Hibiki held the idol out and closed his eyes. The ground started to shake. Lillian and Charlotte held on for dear life. Tatsuya leaned on Hibiki.
What did you wish for?
For everything to be the way it should be.
Hibiki caught on fire while the idol broke, crumbling into dozens of pieces. Charlotte and Lillian watched the bracelets on their wrists fade away into dust. The city started to piece itself back together. The streets were starting to stretch out. Cars stuck, frozen in time. Tokyo stretching towards the sky, while Charlotte, Lillian, Tatsuya, and Hibiki found themselves collapsed in a snow-covered park. Hibiki closed his eyes, while Charlotte laid next to him, waiting for what was to come next.
I'll be here the whole time.
Thank you.
The world came to life again. Snow was falling. Traffic continued. No one noticed. No one cared. The four of them looked around. Everything was back to normal.
You guys can stop being so dramatic.
You're embarrassing us.
Hey, I'm still here.
Hibiki, you look different.
How so? Oh, man. Everything hurts. Why does everything hurt?
Quick, try and turn into a fox.
I can't. I can't shoot fire either.
Are you human?
Well, there's only one way to tell for sure. If you're up for one more trip.
Tatsuya, get over here. I am not riding another train today.
Why are you bossing me around?
You know why. Now come on.
The four of them appeared in Hokkaido, right in front of Hibiki's shrine. Hibiki reached his hand out, stopping it right before he touched one of the stones.
I'm right here with you.
I know you are.
Let's do it. Together.
Hibiki and Charlotte pushed one of the rocks off the shrine, waiting for a minute for something to happen, for Hibiki to vanish. But the only thing that happened was the stone slowly rolled in the snow.
You're still here.
There's no turning back now.
You got what you wanted. Thank you for saving me.
That, sounds like a goodbye.
I love being a spirit. I don't plan on becoming human anytime soon.
That's still not a good reason. Come with us. If you hate humans so much, why don't you give us a chance to change your mind?
After everything I've done?
What we were doesn't matter. It's who we are now.
Charlotte's fingers wrapped around Hibiki's hand, pulling him in. Tatsuya looked between them and at the sky. The moon was shining bright tonight, full, shimmering across the snow.
Maybe I've got one more adventure left in me.
It's summer now. We're back home in San Francisco. I know there's a lot of questions still left to be asked. What happened to Hibiki and Charlotte?
I can't figure this out at all.
Just read the instructions.
Why is it in Swedish?
Wrong side. Read this side.
Oh, I think I was doing this backwards.
They had a rocky start. They had to somehow sneak Hibiki over here. Turns out, a person with no passport, social security number, or birth certificate can't just purchase a plane ticket to America. We had to get inventive. That bracelet thing that worked so well with Charlotte and Hibiki? We convinced Tatsuya to set up a contract with Hibiki. They opened up a sort of lost and found agency. Tatsuya and Hibiki have this whole antagonist buddy cop routine. It's really entertaining to watch.
Honey, I gotta run. It's time again.
Calling me honey now?
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Be safe. And make sure he's home for dinner. My parents are flying in just to meet him.
You really think that's a good idea?
They'll love you.
I guess.
I love you.
I love you too.
Happy ending for everyone? I bet you're wondering what happened to little old me. Am I dating Tatsuya? I know that's what I'd be asking. The short answer is yes. The long answer is it's complicated. Pigeon Boy doesn't open up for everyone. In fact, I have this date planned that ought to get him to think about staying. He told me why he didn't disappear like Hibiki. Turns out his shrine is a little more taken care of than Hibiki's. Guess some spirits have all the luck.
So, who's the client?
Some local convenience store owner. He said that he couldn't pay back someone he took a loan from. So, they took his son as collateral.
Any leads?
I've narrowed it down to a warehouse on the docks. It's gonna be a messy one.
Perfect.
Isn't this a pretty picture?
Definitely not what I imagined would happen when we went to Japan. I was just hoping it would be over relatively soon. Who knew?
This is why you should always trust me. That's the end. For now, I think this warrants a sequel. Only time will tell.
From us to you, Happy Valentine's Day!
Falling in Love with the Moon Part 3 was written and directed by Justin Morton, produced by Sasha Bloor, edited by E.S. Henry, Justin Morton and Sasha Bloor, with music and sound effects from Epidemic Sound. Theme by Ryan Smolek and Lucas Dorsey, voiced by Sasha Bloor. Starring EVH, S.H. Cooper, E.S. Henry, Chris Datterley, Gary Scales, Megan Taylor, and narrated by Matt Raftis.